This exploration of spirituality through a philosophy of children session begins by getting all the children together in whatever way is comfortable for you, the teacher, facilitating the session, for it to go ahead. That could be outside in nature, a field, in a maybe an amphitheatre that the school's got, whatever outside area you've got, or it could be inside in the classroom, in the hall, anywhere that you think is appropriate for the session to take place. Together, the children will then come up with the rules of the session that they have decided themselves, so that they can then police themselves and make sure everybody is following them and doing the session properly, because it's their session, so they make the rules. The discussion can begin. Now, the discussion might happen naturally. The children might begin asking questions or having conversations that you can then bounce off and start discussions, or the children might need a little bit of help, and this is where you can come up with some materials that you can have to hand to ask them questions, and these will be different depending on the progression step. So something more general and vague for progression step 1, such as kindness or sharing or other concepts that we need to teach them in a way, or they need to discover for themselves that this is how we behave. And progression step 2, you can advance it even further, maybe start discussing things around friendships and how we treat each other, especially if maybe the class is having a lot of falling outs in the playgrounds. That's a really good one to do. And then progression step 3, you can go even further and into even more depth. You can discuss things around social media or puberty, if they're learning about that, or even things to do with high school and the worries around that. But it could also be, for all 3 progression steps, it could also be more light-hearted things, such as, are cats better than dogs? Are the school dinners good or not? Discussions like that, where the children can share their own opinion and voice it, and listen to each other's, and then they can maybe change their mind or say, no, I don't agree with that, and just have discussions. Now, of course, you want the session, even though it will be interactive because the children will all be voicing their opinions, a good way to get them up and about and engaging, so it's not just sitting and talking, because the children might not like that. They might want something a bit more active. A good activity idea is to phrase the question. So let's stick with, are cats better than dogs? And you'll have agree on one side of the room and then disagree on the other side of the room, and the children will have to make their way to whichever side they agree with. And you could even have a middle ground and say, this is the line, where do you fit on the line? And the children have to think for themselves, then, where do I place myself on the line, because I might not fully be at one end, I might be more here or in the middle or somewhere in between. So that's then again something they're going to have to translate in their mind and figure out for themselves, what do I actually think? So that's a really good way, especially as an initial icebreaker where the conversation might not be as easy. That's a really good way to get into it, and that's where you can introduce the sort of lighter topics, so that they understand what this session is going to be about, and then they're ready for it. And again, the questions you can be asking them can be light-hearted, or they can be the deeper ones, and that's how you begin the conversation, because once the children place themselves somewhere on the agree to disagree scale, they then get asked, why do you think that? And that probing of why is where the deeper conversation starts, and where other children can then start sharing their ideas, because the ground rules have been set that it's a safe space to share, depending on what the rules could be. It could be, but let someone finish talking, then share your idea. That depends on the rules that the group set. And from there, from maybe like that being an icebreaker activity, the children might start having their own ideas they want to share, and then that's even better if the children start to fully immerse themselves in the activity and they sort of take it on, and you're just there to facilitate, supervise, observe, share your own opinion if they ask, or if a different opinion maybe might deepen their knowledge and their understanding. You can share another opinion, but when that happens, it's brilliant, and it takes a life of its own, because you can then forget all the activities you've got, because the kids have come up with things that they're passionate about and they've got opinions on, and they're sharing it with the class, and it is brilliant. So this activity is wonderful, from all ages, to get them fully involved, fully thinking, and you can make it as light-hearted or as deep, and you can do this every so often, maybe every week, or however you can fit into your schedule, and each time it can get deeper and the children can learn about new things. And it's a good thing, a good activity to use maybe with the older progression steps when talking about topics to do with the news or things that are going on in society. It's where they can understand what they've heard and what's going on, and then share their opinions or ask questions or just learn more. And it is brilliant, because children learning more on that deeper level is amazing for them, and for us as teachers to see. So that's the activity.